We as a people don't feel as it's right what they're doing to this young black man right here.
If there's any human being in the United States of America that deserves presumption of innocence right now today, it has to be Karmelo Anthony.
For them to raise $150,000 for this kid is insane to me. And what it speaks to, in my opinion, is the racism that's involved in this. Because if that young black boy would have killed another black boy at a track meet, we wouldn't hear about it. There would be no GoFundMe. There would be no, oh, we need to stand with him. It's because he killed a white kid. And it's a race war underneath the surface of our country, mostly projected by black people. Hey, y'all, we all know this, but I'm going to remind you. The American dream is under attack. Hardworking patriots like you are being crushed under mountains of debt, credit cards, personal loans, medical bills, and why? It's because creditors love debt. That's why they want you stuck in high interest traps. They want you drowning in collections and skyrocketing payments because when you're broke, you're controllable. But if you're like me, you're not the one to back down. So it's time to fight back. And that starts with PDS Debt. PDS Debt has customized options for anyone struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills. They go beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and provide alternative solutions to help you break free. No minimum credit score, just real help from a team that's rated A+ from the Better Business Bureau and hundreds of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Why? Why do they have such success? Because PDS Debt has helped tens of thousands of people become debt free, and they can help you as well. Stop living in debt. Get your free assessment and find the best option for you right now at pdsdebt.com/Tatum. That's pdsdebt.com/Tatum. You're just 30 seconds away from taking your life back. One more time, pdsdebt.com/Tatum. That's pdsdebt.com/Tatum. The craziest thing that I've seen this week is them raising $150,000+ for a young man who killed another young man. The person who did the killing, people are feeling sorry for him and raising money for him.
So I just want to talk about this situation right here. There's people on Twitter and Facebook everywhere trying to get his GoFundMe reported shut down because we as a people don't feel as it's right what they're doing to this young black man right here. Keep advocating, keep doing y'all lives, keep reposting, and keep doing what y'all doing. This baby is gonna come home no matter what, and he gonna have the best legal team to get him home safely as well. They trying to get this boy under the jail, destroying his reputation and everything, trying to make it seem like he a thug. This child is a 3.7 GPA student, has 21 football scholarships and everything. He had friends and family, all of that. This boy had something to lose. Learn to keep your hands to yourself and you want FAFO, period.
If there's any human being in the United States of America that deserves presumption of innocence right now today, it has to be Karmelo Anthony. Hands down. He was attacked. There were more of them than him. And his witnesses on their side, plus his brother saying that happened. How is that a self-defense? All right? And then proportional use of force. It wasn't a multiple Pokemon. It was a singular Pokemon and he ran.
It's two men, 200 or more pounds over you. Two of them come and mess with you and you're trying to defend yourself. What are you going to do? You're going to do what Karmelo did. As of right now, the media is trying to do everything in their power to make him seem like he's an evil person. Y'all did not see this man repeatedly. That's my thoughts on this.
Let me show you very clearly why I think this is a problem and why this is a racial issue. If you don't know what I'm talking about the incident that happened at the track meet. Karmelo Anthony with a K decided that he was going to stab a kid in a conflict under a tent. There's a few things that we need to talk about here. One, I can legally almost represent this case and show you that Karmelo Anthony will be found guilty. It has nothing to do with his skin color as far as I'm concerned, because I do not care. I'm black and I got my family white. So I got black and white sides. I don't give a flying flip. What I care about is justice. What I care about what's right. What I care about is the law. And for them to raise $150,000 for this kid is insane to me. And what it speaks to, in my opinion, is the racism that's involved in this. Because if that young black boy would have killed another black boy at a track meet, we wouldn't hear about it. There would be no GoFundMe. There would be no, oh, we need to stand with him. It's because he killed a white kid. And it's a race war underneath the surface of our country, mostly projected by black people against white folks. So when a black kid do something wrong, black people rally around the kid that did something wrong because they don't want the white boy to be right. They don't want white people to be right. They don't want white people to be on television saying that this black kid is a thug. They don't care that the black kid, I think that some of them do care, but I think that they're avoiding the point that the black kid actually took the life of somebody unnecessarily. Let me give you a couple factors here, which will bolster the legal argument that I have. I do believe that Karmelo Anthony will be found guilty if he goes to court. I think he's going to do a plea deal because he knows he's dead to rights. His attorneys know he's dead to rights. According to Texas State Penal Code, he will go to jail and be sentenced probably more harshly than he would if he do a plea deal. I think he's going to do a plea deal. And I think in the plea deal, they're going to give him manslaughter charges and he's only going to do 5 or 8 years in prison, which is a travesty. If he goes to trial, this is how he loses. Unequivocally. In the state of Texas, they charged him with first-degree murder. First-degree murder is when you murder somebody intentionally or knowingly causing the death of another person. That's subsection 1. Subsection 2 is intending to cause serious bodily injury and commit an act clearly dangerous to human life that results in somebody's death. They got him on the first statute because he knowingly and intentionally decided to poke the boy in the heart with a knife. The second statutory claim here, which they can get him on as well, is intending to cause serious bodily injury. If you didn't intend to kill the guy, but you should know that stabbing somebody in the heart could cause serious damage, serious bodily injury to that person, and is clearly negligent and is dangerous to human life. They got him again. Here's another one. Commit or attempt to commit a felony other than manslaughter during which they perform an act clearly dangerous to human life that causes death. Let me add to how that's a problem. Because carrying a weapon on a school campus is a felony offense. No, it's a misdemeanor offense. Let's go down to the law because I want y'all to see this very clearly. If you go down to Texas law, it says that it's a knife blade exception, right? If it's 55 inches or shorter, generally speaking, it could be used or be in a public place. However, there is restrictions as to where this can be presented. It says right here, let me go up a little bit. I'll go down here. It says violating these restrictions can lead to criminal charges with penalties varying based on specific circumstances and locations. For instance, carrying a local restricted knife is prohibited in areas generally considered a Class C misdemeanor. And these areas are obviously in sporting events, right? It says carrying a knife regardless of blade length. Here's the caveat here. Carrying a knife, any knife, regardless of blade length, at a school sporting function in Texas is generally prohibited unless you have an explicit authorization to do so. So not only was he already committing a crime by having a knife at a school sporting event, he knowingly and intentionally struck the kid. Whether he tried to kill him or not is still under the grounds of first degree murder. Or they can clarify for second-degree murder. So it's either one of the two that they're going to have him under. But here's where the defense is going to argue. The defense is going to argue that he was acting in self-defense. Now, here is where the self-defense claim falls apart. In the state of Texas, and probably most places, that your self-defense claim is completely eliminated if you are provoking somebody, right? You can't claim self-defense after provocation. So that means that if I'm going somewhere and I'm like, what's up, bro? Come on, fight. I'll fight all of y'all. I didn't went up to somebody, provoking them to a physical altercation. They beat me up, and then I pull a gun and shoot them. Well, you can't call for self-defense if you provoke somebody to engage with you. And his own admission of saying, touch me and see what happens. Going under somebody's tent that don't belong to you, that you're not associated with, refusing to leave, and then threatening and saying, touch me. That means that you cannot lawfully remove me because I'm going to do something to you. So touch me and see what happens. It's a provocation for them to engage with him. And therefore, he then presents a knife and stabs him. So I'll just read here in the statute where it says, or at least the articulation of section 9.31, it says a person is justified in using force against another person when they reasonably believe that it is eminently necessary to protect themselves from others using attempted use of unlawful force. However, this justification does not apply if a person provokes the use of unlawful force, was engaged in criminal activity other than a Class C misdemeanor that is a violation of the law or ordinance regulating traffic, which is the regulating traffic part is not applicable. It's consented to exact force used or attempted by the other, which don't apply here. It's the provocation section, provoking the use of unlawful force. Let me sum it up for you. The prosecution is going to argue that he had no business being in the tent. He had no business carrying a knife to a track meet. Once he was asked to leave the tent, he refused to leave the tent. And then he threatened people at the tent that if they tried to remove him from the tent, see what happens. And once they pushed him out of the tent or grabbed his bag and shoved him, which is not a use of deadly force, he then turned and produced a weapon and used deadly force against the kid. There is no articulation that he feared for his life, serious bodily injury or death, right? Which is why you would use deadly force. So he had no justification to use deadly force. And he has no defense of self-defense because he provoked the incident. He's going to go to prison, rightfully so. And also there's pictures of him on social media with a gun. It looked like a fake gun, but with a gun and throwing up the middle finger and doing all this stuff. I mean, y'all can act like it's not a behavioral issue with this kid, or you can do whatever you want to do, but he's going to go to jail. And let me just add this. I want to play a clip of the father because this is another part of this incident that I think is a tragedy. Because white people, y'all need to stop doing this. You're not going to get the sympathy of black people. A lot of black people hate you to the core, and they don't care what you say. They hate you and want you to be destroyed, and they hate most white people. So you getting on here trying to play the unity train is not going to work. And I understand why dad did this, because he don't want the trauma on his heart of making his son's death a bigger issue than it should be. But he's wrong in the sense of trying to act like this is not a racial thing. Roll the clip.
It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this. I don't appreciate some of the remarks I've seen online that people say there was this fight and they don't know, they weren't there.
All right. I respected that he lost his son. I get it. His mind is cloudy right now. But the mother and son disagreed. But let me tell you my side before I play them. Is 100% a race thing. I said this at the beginning of the show. If there was two black kids, nobody would be talking about it. There would be no GoFundMe. If it was the roles reversed and the white kid stabbed the black kid, it'd be hell. And in this situation, black people are coming out defending the black kid because of the sake of him being black versus a white person, because they cannot justify what he did. Roll the clip.
I heard your husband say within hours of this that he forgave this other young man, and he got there so quickly. And I honestly don't know that I could. And I just want to see, and I don't know if there's a right or a wrong place to be, especially as quickly as this has happened. Megan, how do you feel on that front today?
I am not like their dad. I am so angry at that boy. It's just not fair. That's all I have.
I understand.
I'd like to say is it's forgave, not forgotten, but I'm not at that point yet to forgive that kid for what he did to my brother. Because, 17 years, my best friend, just there in the blink of an eye, I lost him. So I'm not at that.
So they pretty much said they're not at that point of forgiveness. God has called us to forgive. It's a struggle though. Somebody were to do something to my family, I don't know if I can say I forgive them. I don't know if in my heart I can forgive them. It took me years to forgive myself for things I've done. So forgiving somebody else will be very difficult. But I do think this is a race thing, and I think people need to stop trying to play nice guy and call it for what it is. I don't think it is helpful when white people try to be like, oh, we don't want to, they want problems with you though. They won't smoke with you. They raised $200,000 or something for this boy that killed the white kid. And by all measures, he was wrong. All you have to do is look up the law. He's wrong. You're under somebody's tent, which you shouldn't have been, right? They could have compassion and let you sit under their tent when it's raining. They could. They don't have to. They ask you to leave. You refuse to leave. Then you say, touch me and see what happened to you. Therefore, he's planning to use deadly force against kids under the tent where it's raining at. And I guess they pushed him out of the tent, grabbed his backpack or something, and then he stabbed somebody in the heart. Anybody, unless you're looking for money and fame and you're racist, wouldn't jump on the bandwagon and saying, I'm going to put money for a kid that killed another kid. Unless you're saying he's guilty, but I want to help his family because people make mistakes. If you're saying that, I disagree with it. I won't do it, but I see why a person would. But if you're not pushing any of those messages, you're just acting off of racial tribalism. Same thing happened at that Mississippi brawl or Montgomery brawl. You're going to know how black people really feel about you when some racial happened. When the Montgomery brawl happened, you see black people wearing shirts with, that man hit that woman with a chair. And she wasn't even an aggressive person. She was walking on and hit her with a chair. If white people were out here hitting black women with chairs, it wouldn't be funny. But when black people do it, it's funny. To them, it became tribal. Oh, look at all these white folks, man. Look at white folks think, look, my boy was swimming and doing all this. When there's this incident at the track meet, check in on your friends that you think your real friends. And they're going to start getting tribal. Oh, but the black kid was self-defense. What was it? Would you be claiming the same argument if the kid was white that stabbed a black kid under a tent he didn't belong under? We know the answer to that.